Should the Big 12 make a move toward divisions or pods? This has been a really weird conversation people have been bringing up the last couple of weeks is, the new Big 12, 14 teams. Should this league turn itself toward divisions? Should there be pods? Should there be protected rivals, which the SEC has toyed with? There were rumors about a year ago of the Big 12 going to a division setup. That's when the conference expected to have 12 teams. Now there are 16. What do you do with that? I'm going to tell you straight up. First and foremost, the worst, and you're going to disagree. I fear that you'll disagree with this. The worst thing this conference could do is go to a pod setup, which is effectively a yearly rival, a protected rival setup. So if you are BYU and you're playing TCU, Utah, and Baylor every year, and then an odd mixture of random teams, UCF one year, Oklahoma State one year, can we just for a second realize how stupid and bad that is? You can only what makes the world go round. What have we said? What makes the world go round in college athletics is money. And if you're doing protected rivalries, then you can't create new rivalries. If you're like, oh, dude, if I'm Cincinnati, I've really started to hate UCF. I really can't stand UCF. Too bad the Big 12 will only let us play every 3 years, every 4 years. That doesn't create a better product. That doesn't create consistent viewership. What does is when you know that Alabama will play LSU every single year, when you know Ohio State will play Michigan every single year, when you have plastered on the wall, hey, here's how we're going to do it. These teams are going to play each other every single season. That's what works best. And in the Big 12, here's the way you do it. No question about it. No question about it. I'm right here. I haven't said that yet. I won't usually say it, but I am right on this. Not a lot of things. I'm not right in my dating life. I'm not always right in school, which I graduated from and I'm not in anymore. Hell, I'm seldom right on Twitter. Very, very rarely. But I'm right about this. The Big 12 needs to go to divisions. They need to go to divisions. I was reading from Athlon Sports recently, who put the Big 12 in two different divisions, the East and the West. In the East division, they had Cincinnati, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, UCF, and West Virginia. What do you think about that? I'll put it on the screen for those who couldn't keep up with it. Again, it was UCF, then you have Cincinnati, you have Houston, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. It separates the Texas schools and the westernmost schools of this league. So you effectively take, again, Athlon Sports brings us this. You take every team in the West, every team in Texas and further west, put them in a division together, every team in the East and put them together. And I love it. I love it. Cincinnati plays Houston every year. And Iowa State plays Kansas every year. Oklahoma State plays Kansas every year. UCF plays Oklahoma State every year. UCF plays Iowa State every year. You start to build these yearly rivalries, these yearly games where you go to a school like Auburn, and Auburn feels like it has a partial rivalry with everybody in the SEC West. Why? Because they play every season. The West Division in the Big 12 would look like this: Arizona and Baylor, Arizona State, BYU, Colorado, TCU, Texas Tech, and Utah. And then you start to have, it's the reason, oh boy, I'm getting fired up. It's the reason everybody thinks the SEC is going to be so good is regionality. Oh, the SEC is so much stronger because the football is better and they're in one little region and they have all of this power because they will only take teams in the Southeast. They stick to their name. What if the Big 12 did the same thing, but just with divisions? What if the Big 12 had defined divisions where we'd say, hey, look, these eight teams play each other every year. These 8 teams play each other every year. And you can guarantee that when you turn the TV on in the fall, at some point, you see Colorado play BYU. At some point, you see Colorado play Baylor. You see Arizona State play Texas Tech. You see Utah play Arizona. But it just makes sense. We shouldn't have to live in a world where we limit these teams, where we limit an Arizona to only playing 3 squads every year, guarantee, where they only know they're going to play 3 teams every year. And it keeps your schedule, it keeps continuity in your schedule. So you can say, oh, do you guys play Utah this year? Oh, yeah, we play them every year. Oh, is it home or away? Well, it was away last year, so it's home this year. Otherwise, do you play Utah this year? No, they're not a protected rival, so I don't know if we play them this year, but we could in the next 3 years. Do you understand how stupid that is? Do you understand how just asinine, completely asinine and stupid and terrible that is? Do what the SEC does. What's the biggest conference in America? It's the SEC. Fine. You can have that moniker. I'll give it to you. What do they do? What do they do correctly? Divisions. Give these teams squads that they will play every year. Create a rivalry between UCF and Oklahoma State. Create a rivalry between UCF and Houston that will not exist if they don't play on a consistent basis. It would only make sense to do it this way. Oh, it's grinding my gears. Don't do pods, please. The Big 12 belongs in 2 distinct divisions, period. And I will die on that hill. I will die right on that hill. And I will die on Locked On Big 12, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day.